Below the Bar podcast is not meant to be taken as legal advice. It is purely used for entertainment purposes. Corbin and I are not attorneys. In fact, we haven't even graduated law school yet.
We don't even know if we're going to graduate.
We don't even know if we're going to graduate. That's scary. So if you have any legal concerns, please, 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 I urge you guys to seek an actual attorney. With that being said, I hope you enjoy this episode, and that's all I have to say. Hey guys, welcome back to Below the Bar podcast. My name is Drew, and I got my buddy Corbin back here with me this week.
How's it going, guys?
I know you all missed his sweet and soothing voice, so...
Understandable.
Yeah, I did. I missed it. I was very upset.
Yeah,
here,
I get that.
Yeah.
You just had to talk to a wall in here for a week.
It was very, yeah. I actually painted a
fake me.
A fake you on the wall. It wasn't even close to looking like you, but I would just pretend. Yeah, but I'm glad to have you back, so let's get into it. We have a good one here today.
We do, yeah. I'm excited for it. This case is called Regina versus Dudley and Stephens, and it's a great case, and it's a very important case, again, that we learned throughout law school. And it's just interesting, strange.
It's a pretty wild fact pattern here, as all of our cases are. I feel like I say that a lot, so I apologize for repeating myself, but nonetheless... I don't know if this is this Regina you know what? I don't feel comfortable saying the word Regina, so we're just going to say Regina.
It's Regina, which actually I found out during research for this case, Regina is Spanish for queen.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where it came from.
I just thought Regina because I think there's a Canadian province that's like...
I don't know.
Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe somebody from Canada can write in and say, Drew, you're an idiot, or Drew, you're correct. But regardless, it's Regina because I'm not saying Regina. This is different because it's not an American case. It happened in the United Kingdom.
It did.
The Queen's Bench.
We did get some interesting history on America, though.
Yeah.
With this case. This case really is about...
homicide.
Yeah, homicide and... not self-defense, but I guess the necessity for homicide and whether it's justified or not.
There's a couple things before we get into the facts that I kind of wanted to get through here. I think we should lay out just basic, like general, what is homicide, what is, and I have a whole bunch of things here that I can just run through if you're cool with that, Corbin.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we got, homicide. Everybody thinks they have an idea of what homicide is. You kill someone, but there's a variety of different flavors of homicide, if you will. But, we're just going to talk basically. We're going to say what is murder at common law. So murder at common law was the unlawful killing of another human being with malice aforethought. Malice
aforethought really means that you kind of thought it through. So there's the intent to kill, or there's a couple different things that can fall under malice aforethought. So again, intent to kill, intent to inflict serious bodily injury. There's something called the depraved heart murder, which is an intentional killing, but it's because you can still be charged with murder because there was a reckless indifference to somebody's life. So if I were in my living room and just started shooting a gun at random...
which you do on every Saturday evening, right?
Right. I mean, I come here, podcast, go home, grab the closest gun, and just fire off a couple rounds.
Dude, yeah. Sometimes I'll do sometimes is I'll tape with scotch, a real loose tape, knives to my ceiling fan, and then I'll invite 12 people over, and then just crank that bad boy on full blast and just see what happens.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a Russian roulette.
Yeah.
But if one of those knives were to hit somebody and kill them, you could be found guilty because of this
depraved heart.
Yeah. Yeah. There also for murder in the common law, there must be actual and proximate cause, just like we talked about in that Paulsgraf case that we did a couple weeks ago. So basically it means if not for me shooting a gun at random in my house, my neighbor would still be alive.
Yeah, the but-for test.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, if you're the reason that somebody died...
But for your behavior, the person would still be alive,
right. Yeah. That's what I have on murder at the common law for right now.
That pretty much sums it up. Yeah. So with any crime, or at least most crimes, I mean, you have strict liability crimes, which I mean, you're just liable.
Right.
I mean, there's no, but you can have defenses. You know, everybody knows that there's defenses to crimes, and murder is no exception to that. So a couple different defenses. You have mistake that can be argued. Mistake must be a reasonable mistake for general intent or malice crimes.
Right.
Okay. Unreasonable mistakes are only allowed with specific intent crimes, and specific intent crimes are things like first-degree murder, inchoate offenses, which means incomplete offenses such as attempt, conspiracy, I think solicitation.
Yeah.
You have assault with intent to commit battery, and just theft offenses, larceny, burglary, robbery.
Right.
And then you have another self-defense. I think everybody's familiar with self-defense.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a fairly obvious one, I believe.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that if somebody else is attempting to kill you, you have the right to act in self-defense. And
Sure.
if that means killing them, then that means killing them, I guess.
Killing them. You got to do what you got to do. And that leads us to what the defendants here are arguing, and that's necessity. They were saying, you know, because where we had said that, you know, you got to do what you got to do, that it would be necessity. You know, so the defendants were basically arguing that, you know, that they committed this killing out of a necessity. So let's get into what this killing actually was here. So you want to start with that, Corbin?
Yeah, what year was...
It was the 1880s or something.
Yeah. So there were these people that they were on a cruise, and then a storm hit.
Was it a cruise or was it a boat of some sort?
Yeah, I read a cruise, but it was it says they were a crew of an English yacht.
Oh, okay.
So,
Just
but
4 dudes.
yeah. So a storm hits, and four of the guys ended up having to go onto like one of the small little life rafts or whatever they had at that time, probably a little wooden boat.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of out at sea for a while.
20-some days.
Yeah, and it said they had 2 cans of radishes, and they caught 1 turtle.
Which is good food.
Which is amazing.
That's good eating. I want to know, I'm going to stop you real quick and say, the fact that they could just reach into the sea and pull a turtle out.
Yeah. They already survived longer than I would have.
These guys are, I mean, jeez, oh man.
Right. So they ended up, after they ate all of their radishes, ate their turtle, and drank what little water they had, which was rainwater, they ended up going without food for about a week. And so 2 of the guys, Dudley and Stephens, ended up approaching Parker, who was sick and younger. I think it said he was 17 or 18 years old.
A kid.
Yeah. So they approached him, and they were basically like, hey, we want to kill you. That way we can eat you and survive.
Which is, I mean, yeah.
Which, if anybody, I'd be like, okay.
They were polite about it.
Right.
Hey,
They
Parker, hey,
asked
man,
him.
look, can we please kill you and eat you?
Right. So the 4th guy on the boat argued against it, said, no, we're not killing this kid.
The voice of reason.
Yeah, he was just kind of like... And it's just funny thinking about doing all of this on one little boat. Like, you can't hide it. You can be like, okay, so we're going to kill this guy.
Yeah.
Just don't tell him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And then the guy's like, you guys say something?
Yeah, he's like 2 feet away.
Yeah.
It's like,
what are you guys talking about? No, Timmy, get over that. Leave us alone, Timmy.
the adults are talking.
Yeah.
But so anyway, yeah, the other guy says, no, we're not killing him. And the other 2 guys are like, all right, fine, we'll make a deal. If a boat doesn't come by tomorrow, we're killing him at sunrise, and then we'll survive off of his body until we get saved.
Yeah.
So sunrise comes, no boat, so they kill him. And they eat the meat off of his bones and drink his blood in order to survive until they are eventually rescued.
Yeah.
They get rescued, taken back, and they are immediately arrested.
Yeah.
For murder.
Did they get arrested, or they get rescued 4 days after?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened. This Parker kid, I mean, he was pretty sick and weak.
There's some interesting things, in my opinion, about that is like, have you seen sickly people? They don't look enticing to eat. Yeah. Like,
sometimes you look at a hardy man and you go, man, I could really
like obviously I could take a bite out of him,
sink
but
my
like,
molars in his.
right.
Yeah. But
no, but you get what I'm saying. Like, out of everybody, like, I get that he was probably going to be the one to die anyway, but I just can't imagine being like, the one that looks really gross is the one that we should eat.
Yeah. They at least maybe should have spruced him up with some herbs and
Right.
spices
Like,
beforehand.
Like, dunk them in the sea to wash them
Salt
up.
them up, suck them in a brine. I don't know. Do something. Get some flavor going here. I couldn't imagine, they didn't have anything to cook them with. It was just cold.
Yeah, it was just
leg meat.
It was just body temperature meat.
Gross, man. Yeah, and over the course of 4 days, they ate him, so
drank his blood.
Drank his blood.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, you can't drink seawater, so I guess you do have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, well, you know how they killed him? They slit his throat.
Yeah.
When he was laying on the floor of the boat sick, they just hovered over this boy and slit his throat. And they told the other dude, who I can't remember his name, the fourth guy that was like against the killing, they told him to go take a nap. Well, we go
on the other side of the boat.
Yeah. Which I don't know how big the boat was, but in my head, it's exactly what you're saying. I picture this like little dinghy,
right? Like it's like 6 feet long.
Yeah, yeah. And they're like, all of this is happening, and they're just shoulder to shoulder,
like rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
Stay still. Like,
yeah. I also think about the stories that they had whenever they got rescued. Like, they were telling this crew, like, oh yeah, man, we slit this boy's throat and drank his blood and ate his arms, and they were just like, oh,
they're like,
that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all right. That's fine. Yeah.
Another question I have about this case is, did they just have his body with them? Like,
I was thinking that too. Like, I mean, you guys, they should have at least put like a harpoon in his hand or something to make it look like he was attacking them and they had to kill him.
Right.
And then they just ate him because he was,
Yeah, it's strange to me that they were basically shipwrecked and there were just those four. And they could have really been like, no, we've never seen this kid.
Dump this dude at sea.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You're pretty far out there, guys. I mean, I'm not condoning killing and eating someone. I'm just saying they weren't the sharpest.
Yeah, I guess they could have just dumped him at sea, but instead they just kind of took him back with them. They were like, that's the guy we ate. He was sick and a kid, so.
Especially considering this was the 1880s, man. Like, forensics weren't even a thing.
Right.
They didn't know any. I mean, like, you could dump a dude at sea and they would probably be none the wiser.
Right.
I mean, this wasn't really, they didn't think this one through. And that's pretty obvious for a lot of reasons. But, so, they get charged with murder, okay? And then they go to trial, and it's determined, that the men likely would not have survived had they not killed and ate Parker. It was also determined that it was likely Parker would have died from his sickness before the 4 days elapsed where they were rescued.
Right.
And there was also no reasonable signs at that time that help was on the way. So given all of these circumstances, the question is, was this murder charge proper, or was this a necessary killing?
Right. And Dudley and Stephens were arguing, yes, he was going to die. We were also going to die unless we ate him. So we did what we had to do in order to survive.
I gotta say this. I give them 24 days, 20 some days they were out there. And they ate some radishes or turnips or whatever and a turtle. And it wasn't until 20 some days in that they ate this kid.
Yeah, they went a week without any food.
You give me 2 hours and I'm eating someone. All right? I'm eating someone. 2 hours in, I'm done.
I'm finding the closest sickly child.
I'm taking him out. All right. Survival of the fittest. I'm crushing this kid. I'm eating him. Right. 2 hours in. I mean, how long would you last? How long do you think you'd go without food at sea?
At sea, I really don't know because I go a day and a half without eating sometimes.
That's insane.
But that's just who I am.
If I don't eat every 2 hours, I'm a mess. All right. There might be something wrong with me. If there's any doctors listening, is that okay?
There's probably something wrong with me not eating for a day and a half. Yeah, dude. And that's just I forget, and then a day and a half goes by, and then I'm like, I'm hungry, and then I'm like, well, I didn't eat yesterday, so.
Well, you're just involuntarily intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
or subconsciously rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they were arguing that it was a necessity, and then a guy named Lord Hale
I don't know why that was funny,
says,
but that was
it's just it seems like such a proper name. Like I can just
Lord Hale.
right,
Yeah.
just coming in front of the queen and spewing off whatever like religious.
Yeah, it was. I imagine like that's how.
Right.
It's very biblical.
He's like
yeah.
shaking. Like I picture. I know you haven't seen it, but I picture the guy that works for the Lannisters in Game of Thrones, the old Meister or whatever he is in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I have not seen Game of Thrones, guys. I've seen like 2 episodes, and you know what? I'm not gonna watch it. Is that out of stubbornness? Maybe, but you know what? I don't care. I'm not watching it.
But he basically says that though they were going to die, even though the kid was probably going to die, that the necessity to save yourself does not justify murder unless it's self-defense.
Right.
So if somebody's trying to kill you, it's a necessity to kill them. That's cool. But if you're hungry,
Exactly. You can't be like, I got a really big appetite right now, man, and Corbin's looking delicious right now, so I'm gonna bash him over the head. And, yeah.
Sorry, Judge, I hadn't eaten in a couple days.
Yeah, that's essentially the argument. It's like, I was just hungry. I mean, granted, it was a little more serious than that. They were stuck at sea, but
Yeah, and then there was Lord Bacon,
great name.
which basically said something along the lines of, well, if somebody were to be drowning in the ocean, they're allowed to push somebody off of a raft to save them. And it confuses me because if somebody's drowning in the water, how are they going to
Push someone off a raft.
someone off?
Yeah, that's. I have a migraine right now.
Yeah,
after you-
like I have it right here in front of me. Lord Bacon suggesting that a diver could push another off of a raft to save himself.
that doesn't.
It
So
does
is he on the raft? He's like, oh, I'm
drowning on the raft.
drowning on the raft. Get out of
out.
here,
Yeah.
Ted. Yeah.
Yeah, that one confuses me.
Bacon.
One thing I really like is they do talk about an American case. And in America at this time, what would have been done to decide who was going to live and who was going to die. And in the 1880s, the American way to decide who, quote, is to be sacrificed is to pull straws.
Oh man, wait, that was the way? That was
Yeah.
like, or that was just what happened in that case?
It was just what happened in this case.
But that was the American way.
But like I like to think that if in the UK they're looking at this one specific case, that it must have been fairly important to just be like, well, in America,
that's our way. Every first of the month, we gather 10 people, put them in a room, and draw straws.
straws.
The shortest straw dies.
and that's how
Lord Bacon, man.
Lord Bacon.
He said some stupid things.
Yeah.
Guess you could say someone fried his bacon a little too long. I'm sorry. That was horrible. You guys can turn off this podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, please don't.
Well, there goes all of our subscribers.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, I just thought that was interesting that they looked at that American case. Like, did they have to do a lot of research to find that? I hadn't heard of drawing straws as a legitimate American style for anything.
Yeah.
Until right now.
I mean, I could see it being legitimate to see who gets the last piece of pizza.
Right,
But
like-
not like who gets killed, you know?
Not the sacrifice.
Yeah.
I like that they use that word. I like that they use sacrificed there.
Yeah.
Like that's
The sacrificial lamb. Yeah.
right. Like that's also not something you hear about a ton just in everyday American life.
Yeah, it's
now
very,
at least.
It's
I
very
guess
Mayan.
maybe in the 1880s
Yeah.
America was big into sacrifices and they just were like, well, pull straws.
I'll bet. I wish I knew someone from the 1880s to talk to.
I would ask them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we find somebody? If anyone out there is from the 1880s, we would like to know how they determined if that was actually the American way.
DM us at Below the Bar Podcast on Instagram.
Let us know if you know how to use a computer. You fossil. So, yeah, so basically these two guys were found guilty of murder. They were sentenced to death. And I think that's kind of hilarious. I know that sounds gross for me to say that, but
it's funny and not in the same time. Just can you imagine your last few days on Earth? You survived by killing and eating a sick 17-year-old.
Yeah.
And immediately they're just like, well, now you're gonna die.
Yeah, these were just some normal dudes before this. Dudley and Stephens. They were just going about their 1880s life.
I mean, they already caught one turtle.
They caught a turtle with I'm just assuming their bare hands, which is a feat in and of itself.
Right. I mean, I don't know how much more the court can ask of them to try to survive without killing this guy.
All right. I mean, so they slit this dude's throat. They eat this boy.
Drink his blood.
And then they're sentenced to death. That's just so
just
ironic.
A terrible way to go out.
That's crazy. So we ate
for
this,
everyone.
That would be my last words. I ate this boy for nothing. That would be it.
I mean, that's the case. It's strange, interesting, sad, I guess.
Sad. It's a lot of emotions. It's an emotional roller coaster.
It really is. There are a lot of ups and downs. First, they're on a yacht. That's exciting. Then they're killing a 17-year-old boy.
What a trajectory. What a downward trajectory. I can't say that word, apparently.
The character arc in this case is amazing.
It's amazing. This should be a movie.
It really should be.
Yeah. I don't know. I know usually we like to talk about, stories that we can relate to, like things that have happened.
One time, sorry, this is just a kind of related story. So one time I was in Erie with some of my friends, and we would rent like a speedboat and just go tubing and whatnot.
Time out. Where the hell is this going?
You'll see.
Okay.
This is the story. So
you're right, Drew. Shut up.
We're on the speedboat in Lake Erie, and a storm hits, and so some of the people that we're with get cold. They just have nothing to do, so we end up killing one of the guys that we're with and lighting his body on fire. That way we can
warmth.
Yeah.
I would have just cut him open and slid inside and just eat warm as a coat.
Just like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Just
I'm thinking we're gonna have to, go on Apple and tell them that this is now an explicit podcast after this episode.
I just admitted to murder. This is a joke. I have not killed and burned my friend alive just so I could have a warm 30-minute boat ride back to the dock.
Well, you can't be cold for 30 minutes. That's just...
It was too long.
I get you. You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Hey.
So that's my only related story that I can really think of.
I mean, one time I was really hungry, so I had a few drinks. It was my birthday. I think I was like 22 or 23, and I was on my hands and knees in front of the fridge shoveling cake into my mouth with my bare hands. So that's really the only story I have about...
That's close.
Yeah. I guess that's relatable. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's really about it for this case. I don't know how much. It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
If you're starving, don't kill someone. It's not allowed.
Don't do it.
If you're in America and you want to sacrifice someone, you all have to pull straws.
Yeah.
It's not fair to just pick a sacrifice.
These are the key takeaways. Yeah. And that's a good defense in court. We drew straws. He got the... Yeah.
It's in this case.
Yeah.
So,
well, in efforts to keep this episode, short for listenability, I think we've covered everything here. You have anything else?
So.
Yeah.
No, I think that's it. Like I say, literally every single time. Maybe I'll stop someday. Probably not. If you guys have any ideas, I know we've had a couple of our followers reach out and send us in some cases. So if anybody else has any cases that they find interesting or funny, just DM us at Below the Bar Podcast on Instagram.
Shoot them over.
I'm sorry that I was kind of AFK there for a little bit. I need to get our YouTube videos put up, but I will get those done hopefully later today. And that's all I've got.
Yeah, guys, and as always, you can follow us on Instagram at Below the Bar Pod, as Corbin said. You can check us out on YouTube, also, as Corbin said, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the Stitcher app. And we look forward to doing this next week with you guys. And as always, see you later.